Hi guys, welcome back to another episode with Rusi Baby. Quick question: why do people remain in a relationship even when the love becomes toxic? You see, some ladies, they'll be in a relationship, a toxic relationship. Their family will be begging them to come out of such relationship, they won't listen. Their friends will be advising them to come out of such relationship, they won't listen. Even their spiritual leaders will be praying for them to come out of such relationship, but anytime they try to come out, before you know it, the next minute they are back to that relationship. Why? I've come to realize that it's not that they like toxic relation, just that the reason they have their reasons indeed. Yes, these people have reasons, not like they choose to be in a relation. Nobody prays to be in a relationship, nobody prays for their love to become toxic one day, but it happens. So many people, when it finally happens, they find it very, very hard to leave that relationship. Why? That is what I'm going to be talking about in today's episode. Why are people finding it really hard to leave their relationship when it becomes toxic? But of course, before I begin with what I have to say for today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you've not subscribed, also like and comment on my videos as well. Thank you so much for that. The number one reason is the fear of being alone. Yes. Some people would rather stay with the wrong person than to remain, than to face that silence alone. The fear of being alone has made a lot of people to remain in toxic marriages, to remain in toxic relationships. These Some people, when they find themselves in toxic relationship, it is not easy for them, my dear. It's not as easy as people say it. Once you're in a toxic relationship, pack your bags and leave that marriage, pack your bags and leave that person. My dear, it's not that easy. You have to put yourself in those people's shoes. It is not easy. Imagine dating someone and getting married to the person, maybe like 5 to 7 years into that marriage, things are going south in the marriage, and the person just decides to stay, and people keep advising the person, leave that marriage, leave that marriage. It's not easy. It's not like they don't want to leave, but when they see the amount of years they have spent with this one person, the time, everything that they have been through, the good moments that they spent with this person, when they remember all those things, it is not easy for them. Some of those ladies, when you ask them, they'll be like, how can I leave after all these years? At this age, how can I leave? They find it really hard. So it's not that easy. Different people and their own reasons. For some people, they confuse pain with passion. Yes, there are so many people in toxic relationships that mistake emotional chaos for love. All those ups and downs in their relationship, they see it as deep connection. But my dear, that is not love. All the jealousy, fighting, all those, everything that makes your relationship toxic, don't see it as love. Don't see it as a way that you people build, both of you build deep connection for each other. No, that is not deep connection. That is dysfunction. So do not mistake pain with passion. For some people, what they are facing in their relationship is something called trauma bonding. Yes, their brain has formed attachment to the people that hurt them. That is the people they are in a relationship with that is hurting them. Because of a cycle in that relationship, a cycle of abuse followed by affection. There are people that their toxic relationship, their own case in their toxic relationship is that Their partner hurts them, maybe after a verbal attack, after saying or doing all manner of bad and terrible things to them. They apologize with a gift. You see someone after a very serious verbal attack with their partner will go out, buy gifts, come and kneel down and apologize. And the cycle continues. And the cycle continues. Year in, year out, they keep facing these things. And the cycle continues. My dear, I know that it's hard for you, but ask yourself, when will this end? Is that how you want to continue that relationship for the rest of your life? Forever is indeed a long time. So think about it. For some people, what they are facing in their relationship, their problem is low self-worth. Yes, they believe they don't deserve better. So they feel like, okay, being in a toxic relationship is better than not being in any relationship at all. Low self-worth. Low self-worth will make you feel like even when you're in a toxic relationship, you just encourage yourself in that situation and tell yourself, at least there is somebody somewhere that wants me. At least let me just manage the relationship, because at least somebody wants me, even if the person is toxic. How long can you continue to stay in such relationship? Ask yourself. Do not allow your mind to make you feel like you don't deserve better. Do not place yourself in such situation. It can be really disastrous. My dear, you deserve better. A very common reason why some people find it really hard to leave their toxic relationship is because of financial dependence. Yes, a lot of people depend financially on their partner. So when the relationship gets toxic, they find it really hard to go. They just can't leave. Money has a way of trapping people in their relationship and marriage. Let's just admit it. People don't like admitting, but that is just the truth. Yes. You see a woman that has been married for years, she has children, she doesn't really have a good job, she doesn't have much savings, and her marriage just got toxic over the years. But she's finding it hard to leave because she's dependent on the husband. So sometimes you don't just open your mouth and begin to talk against these people in toxic relations. Some of them they don't have any other place to go. Some of them they are depending financially on their partner. It's not that easy. So don't just go around pointing fingers and running your mouth, scolding people anyhow in toxic relationship. Why can't they just leave? Why can't you just wake up, pack your bag and leave? My dear, it's not that easy for everybody. So please, all you can do is to keep praying for that person, keep encouraging that person whichever way you can. But do not ever talk some really bad things about people in a toxic relationship, because nobody prays for such. So they are not even finding it. It is not easy for anybody. Cultural pressure is another reason why so many people remain in their toxic marriages. Yes. Do you know that there are some communities where you're not allowed to leave your marriage, no matter how toxic it is, no matter how bad the situation is, even if it's about to take your life, you have to remain in that marriage. To them, it is for better, for worse, even if you're dying. There are cultures like that. There are communities like that. That he wants to get married, you dare not come back to your father's house. It is a very shameful thing. Generally, nobody prays to get married and go back to their parents' house. You understand? But there are some cultures that don't even make it easy for people at all. With all the pressure coming from your village people and all that, it's not easy. But my dear, what I have to say to you, I know that it's not easy with all the cultural and religious pressure from family and everybody. But there are still strict grounds for divorce. Yes. when it comes to a matter of life and death, my dear, I advise you choose life. Another very common reason is for the kids. Yes, many people remain in toxic marriages because of their children. They wouldn't want their children to feel like maybe things got bad in the marriage and they just left. They don't want the children to grow up feeling abandoned. You understand? So, especially for the women, it's really hard for them to just leave their children and go. So, some of them just stay back and endure everything going on in that marriage because of their children. Another reason why people stay is because they keep hoping that their partner will change one day. They hold on to the good memories they once shared with that person, and they keep living on hope and not reality. They keep hoping that that good version of their partner that they used to know will one day come back, but it never did. But they do not live in hope. You have to face reality. I know that it's not easy, but please, some people, their own reason is emotional manipulation. For one reason or another, their toxic partner keeps making them feel like that, like everything is their fault. Every bad thing that their marriage is facing is their fault. They keep manipulating them to think that it is because of them, that's why the marriage is not working anymore. And this is really, really bad. So because of that guilt that it's their fault that their marriage is going bad, they remain in that marriage hoping that and trying to find a remedy to what is going on, but not knowing that they are being emotionally manipulated. For some people, the reason why they remain in the toxic relationship is because they grew up in chaos. They grew up in dysfunctional homes. You understand? So they don't see it as anything. You're the one seeing it that they are in a toxic relationship. To them, they are not in a toxic relationship. Their relationship is normal. You're the one seeing all the toxicity. So with all the fighting and the quarreling that is very, very serious going on in their relationship, they don't see it as anything. That's why it's having a dysfunctional home has a way of affecting the children so much. It affects their mindset, it affects them physically, psychologically. So those children, when they now grow up, the way they see this domestic violence and all these toxic things concerning marriage is not the way someone that grew up in a peaceful and quiet home sees it. So for some people, anything shouting is already toxicity. For some people that grew up in the dysfunctional homes, even with all the fighting and the quarreling, they will tell you that it's just normal family drama. You understand? So you see that growing up in a dysfunctional home has a way of affecting the children, which is really bad. For some people, they feel they can't leave because they have invested so much. Yes, they have invested a lot over the years. Their time, their money, their emotions. When they remember all that they have invested into that relationship, into that marriage, they will say no. They will find it really hard. They will say, no, I can't throw it all away. So because of those things, all that they have invested, they find it really hard to leave that marriage, no matter how toxic it becomes. Some people can't leave because to them, love means never giving up. Even when that love is killing them, they can't leave. You know, that statement that people make on the altar, for better, for worse. Some people took their own too personal. And because they feel like that statement means even if you're dying, like the situation is really bad, you should not leave. My dear, I understand that you want to keep that vow, but there are grounds for divorce. For some people, they are too embarrassed to leave their toxic relationship because of the way they have posed their marriage to be. They have said so many things to their friends, their family, their church members, to people around them. They have been saying, making mouths of how perfect their relationship is. So now that they are facing one or two in their marriage is becoming toxic. They are too ashamed to even leave after everything that they have said. You understand that kind of thing? When you keep making mouths, even lying about how perfect your relationship is, and now that things are going sour, you find it really hard. The shame. See it as a very shameful thing for you to leave after everything that you have said about your marriage. So you're now finding it hard to leave. That is really bad. Do not live your life. Do not build your marriage on lies. For some people, they don't even realize that they're in a toxic marriage. Because when toxicity becomes a new normal in your marriage, you will no longer see it as an abuse. Yes, it becomes a normal thing in your home. I've heard someone say, this lady has been going through so much emotional and verbal abuse in her home. Serious one, not serious one. But she keeps defending him. She keeps saying that it's nothing, that it's a normal thing between the both of them. Because it has not gotten to physical abuse. She said, at least he doesn't hit me. And to her home has been like that for years. My dear, what I have to say is that for people facing such situation, my dear, please, physical abuse is still abuse. Verbal abuse is still painful. It is still abuse. And you endure till it gets to physical abuse. And finally, on today's episode, on reasons why some people remain in their relationship or marriage even when it gets toxic. Because they have lost their identity. Yes, they have been broken so much to the extent that they don't even know who they are anymore. When you lose your identity, you lose your self-worth. You lose your in fact, loss of identity will make you not even realize that you're in a toxic relationship, even when every other person around you is crying and begging you. You have been broken so much that you don't even realize that you're being abused. That is even the worst. So, my dear, please, I understand that it's not easy. But if it gets toxic and the situation cannot be handled, please leave for your own sake. So if you've ever asked the question, why didn't they leave? Now you know the answer. So if you find yourself in such a situation, my dear, please don't be ashamed. Get help. Get free. Save yourself. Don't be ashamed to leave that toxic relationship. That is all for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Thanks so much for listening. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Share this video to someone that needs to hear this. You never can tell. It could help that person. Don't forget to like and comment on my videos as well. Tell me what you think about today's video. I would really love to know what your opinion is about reasons, and if you know more reasons why some people remain in toxic relationship, kindly share with us in the comment section. I'll be waiting there. Thank you so much for that. See you in my next episode.